chapter number 6, energy and power resources. Okay. Huh. Now, energy resources can be classified as conventional and non-conventional, and they are also known as renewable and non-renewable resources. Okay, depending whether they can be renewed or not. Renewed means we can gain that one or not. Depending on that, it is classified into two types. Okay, so this is the outline of the chapter that you're going to learn today. The sources of energy. What are the different sources of energy? Okay, then we have non-renewable sources of energy, that is coal, petroleum, hydropower, that is hydroelectricity. And India has many multi-purpose the dams which produce hydroelectricity. Then we have renewable source of energy, which means they can be renewed. We can gain those energy resources. Those are solar energy and wind energy. Now we also have difference between renewable and non-renewable sources of energy. Then the last one is how can we conserve.
Ma'am.
Please mute your mic and concentrate on the studies. No need to wish me right now. We have already started the chapter. Okay. And the last one that we are going to learn is conservation of energy and power resources. How are we going to conserve those energy and power resources so that we can use them in our future? Okay. Now this particular table that you can see on your screen right now is energy resources. Your whole video is being recorded, so whoever is unmuting your mic will be easily caught. Okay? Fine. Coming back to the topic. Now these energy resources are divided into two types, non-renewable energy resources and renewable energy sources. These are the basic things that you might have learned in your lower sections, in your lower grades, in EVS classes maybe. Okay, so this is just a mere revision. Now, non-renewable energy sources are of different types. The first is petroleum, you have coal also, natural gas, hydropower, thermal power, nuclear power. Okay, nuclear power uses the radioactive energy to produce power. Now, this hydropower, which is the construction of dam, we construct dam and from there we extract the electric energy. Okay, that is hydropower. So the two main important structures which give you this hydropower are the Bhakra Nangal Dam and the Hirakud Dam. And the renewable resources are those resources which can be renewed, which can be gained with time. That is solar energy. They will not get exhausted. You can gain them. Okay, those are solar energy, wind energy, biogas, tidal, and geothermal energy. And geothermal, what are geothermal energies? The energies which you get from earth. Okay, those are geothermal energy. Okay, so today we will be dealing with these three things, coal, petroleum and hydropower. Now these three resources are all non-renewable. Okay, why? Because once if they get exhausted, we cannot renew them. Okay, you can see in your books, page number 81, non-renewable sources of energy come from sources that will run out or will be replenished for thousands or even million of years. So they will get run out, they will get exhausted. Okay, once they are exhausted, we will not be able to get back. Most sources of non-renewable energy are fossil fuels like coal and petroleum. Now, coal and petroleum are the non-renewable resources. Fossil fuels were created as the remains of marine creatures decayed millions of years ago under a huge amount of pressure and heat. Most fossil fuels are burned to create energy and electricity. Coal is a type of rock in sedimentary rocks. Okay. Now in this slide will help you to understand how these coal and petroleums are formed. Okay. So this is a marine environment, okay, in which the marine organisms are living. So as days go on and as the year passes, what happens? Sediments get deposited. So you can see earlier these two layers were present. Now, as the time passed, now there are more layers of sediments. Now, likewise, these sediments keep on growing. Okay, and what happens? This complete water is vacated from here and it is filled with the sediments. And from where do these sediments come? The sediments come from the weathering and erosion process which the rocks undergo. Okay, weathering and erosion is a common thing, I hope. Okay, so what happens? These sediments create a pressure. Okay, pressure over these rocks. Now you can see this particular area has trapped oil. So from where does this trapped oil came? This trapped oil came when the organisms, these marine organisms were dead. Okay, as they die, what happens? These marine organisms will settle here. Okay, and again, when they settle here, these sediments will lie over them. And likewise, the sediments will keep on depositing. And after some time, due to the pressure which is created by these rocks and the heat which is from the earth. Now, earth has its own heat, okay, which is present, which is created from deep inside the earth, from the core. Heat is generated. So, because of the presence of that heat and the pressure which these rocks provide, the oil gets trapped here in between the small spaces which is present between the rocks, and this is how the rocks are formed. This is how the oils are formed, oil and natural gases. Okay. Okay, now except hydroelectric power, these resources are in limited quantity. So what happens? These oil and these gases, they are in limited quantity and they have been formed after it has taken a lot of time for the formation of these oil, because sedimentation of the layers and the preservation of these marine organisms, it takes a lot of time, millions of years, and these are in limited quantity. So once they get exhausted, the gases, the oils which are present here, we cannot get them back. Okay, so except hydroelectric power, these resources are in limited quantity. Likewise, coal is also formed in this way. Oil is formed from the dead plants and animals which are present in the ocean floor. And from where do we get the coal? Coal we get when a lot of vegetation, land plants are buried in the buried under the sediments. Okay, from there we get coal. And from where do we get this oil? We get oil from the marine organisms. So the non-renewable sources are harmful for the environment. Why? Okay. When fossil fuels are heated, they release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So this is common to us. Whenever there is burning of fuel, a lot of carbon dioxide is released in the atmosphere. And what happens? These carbon dioxide gas keeps the heat in the Earth's atmosphere. Okay. So this carbon dioxide, what happens? It traps the heat, whatever heat is present, it traps them. And it doesn't allow those heat to get out of our atmosphere. And this in turn, what happens, increases the temperature of the earth, and which is known as greenhouse effect. Now, non-renewable sources causes pollution when used, as they emit smoke and ash. So when you burn these petroleum, coal, all these things, what happens? They release a huge amount of smoke and ashes, and they lead to the greenhouse effect. First, we will read about coal. Now, coal is a major source of power. Okay, you have maybe you have seen that people in the villages, they use coal as a main source of generating fire and using them in their cooking. Okay, now it is used in the generation of electric power for mineral-based industries like iron and steel and cement industries. Now there are three varieties of coal. If you categorize them according to the grade, there are three varieties: anthracite, bituminous, lignite, and peat. Now anthracite is considered to be the highest grade. Why? Because it has a large amount of carbon content in it. Anthracite, and next come bituminous. After anthracite, it is bituminous. Lignite and peat, they have a huge amount of moisture in it. So when you burn lignite and peat, they are considered to be the inferior variety of coal. Why? Because when you burn, a lot of smoke is created, and the amount of heat that is given by the lignite and peat is very less. If you see the if you compare with anthracite, when you burn anthracite, it produces a large amount of heat and very little smoke. So production of smoke will lead to the greenhouse effect, which is not good for our environment. That is why to produce a large amount of heat and energy, we prefer anthracite and bituminous rather than going for lignite and peat. Okay. Now, first bit is anthracite is the best quality of coal and contains over 80% carbon. So, 80% of carbon, huge amount of carbon is present in anthracite, as I have told you already. Now, next is bituminous coal, is the most widely used variety of coal and contains about 60 to 80% carbon. Why bituminous is? We all know that anthracite is the best quality, but still we use bituminous. Why? Because the bituminous coal is in abundance. The abundance of bituminous coal is more than anthracite in our country. Okay, that is why bituminous is more widely used in our country than anthracite. Anthracite being the anthracite having high content of coal. Okay, now distribution. The picture that you can see on the screen is of the coal mines. Okay, coal mines are shown this way. So this is a coal deposit. These are the machineries which are used to extract the coal from the mines. Okay, they have a very huge coal. And from where are these coal formed? These coal are formed when the plants get buried. Okay. Okay, now coal distribution in India. Basically, the distribution of coal in India is much more important than the distribution of coal in the world. So first we will see what is in the world. Now in world, coal reserve occurs in all the continents. Okay, and the leading producers are USA, Russia, China, UK, Poland, West German, and India. Okay, so land plants were present in all the areas, and therefore all the continents may have the coal reserves, but it depends on the country, which all country are the leading producers of coal. So the leading producers, as I have told you, is USA, Russia, China, UK, Poland, West German, and India. Now in India, there are certain parts which produce this coal. The first is Jharkhand. Okay, then comes Orissa. You can see these all areas which have been marked here. Please mute your mic, whoever it is. Okay, so these all areas which have been marked in black are the leading producers of coal. Okay, the first one is Jharkhand. Now you have Odisha. Then you have West Bengal here. Okay, and Madhya Pradesh. They give around 90% of the coal reserves. Whatever coal we have today comes from these areas. So 90% they only provide coal. Now conservation of coal. Why we need to conserve the coal? Okay, as I have told you in the introduction, coal is a major source of power. Okay, in almost all the industries, coal is only used for the production of energy and generation of heat. The first is conservation of coal implies that every bit of energy that can be obtained and every bit of byproduct must be recovered. Now, when you extract coal, there are certain byproducts also that we get when we refine that coal. Okay, so it is said that the coal should be conserved as well as the byproduct that we get from the coal should also be conserved. Okay, now conservation of coal has become an integral part of mine planning and cooperation. So whenever we mine coal, when huge machineries are used to mine coal and take out coal, what happens? All the conservation processes, whatever it is, we are planning that whatever coal we extract from the mines are conserved properly and they are used in a better way. Okay, so how can we conserve them? What are the suggested measures that we can take? The first is new reserves should be discovered and new techniques should be adopted. Now what happens? Some of the mines, they use the old techniques to extract coal. Okay, the old techniques can be drilling. Okay, They can also use some explosions to extract the coal. Okay, they undermine the coal and they extract those things. So there are new they extract. Please mute your mic. Soumya Sri Panigrahi, please mute your mic. Soumya Sri Panigrahi, please mute your mic. Thank you. Okay. So what happens when we use the old techniques? When we use the old techniques to mine the coal, what happens in that case? A lot of coal is destroyed. Okay, some of the coals we cannot conserve. So we need to adopt new techniques in order to conserve the coal. Next is coking coal should be used for metallurgic purpose only. So what is the meaning of coking coal? Now coking coal produces a very less amount of moisture, very less amount of gases. Okay, they have very less amount of moisture content in them. So when we use coking coal, what happens? Less amount of gases are emitted, and therefore in that way we can protect our environment from greenhouse effects. Okay, so that is why it is suggested to use the coking coal in all the metallurgic purposes. Next is selective mining should be discouraged. Now what is selective mining? What happens while we mine, before mining, the experts see that where the coal reserve is more. Okay, if there is very less quantity of coal available, the experts what they do, they just neglect that area and they shift to that area which has more coal reserves. So that is why this selective mining, extraction of coal from selected areas where the production is more, where we find more coal, instead of doing that, we need to extract coal from all the areas in using better techniques, using newer techniques. Okay. Low grade coal should be used wisely. So what are the low grade coals? As I have told you, lignite and peat are the low grade coals. Okay. So basically what happens, people tend to prefer bituminous and anthracite variety of coals rather than going for the lignite and peat. As I have told you, because they have lot of moisture content in them. So what happens, these lignite and peat, they are left as it is. So we should adopt to certain procedures in which these low grade coals can also be used in a better way. Okay. The last one is small and uneconomic collieries should be amalgamated and be made economically viable units. So small and uneconomic collieries, which means small mines, small instruments that we use for the extraction of the coal, they should be implemented, they should be upgraded and should be used economically in all the smaller units also. Okay, so these were the processes which were suggested for the conservation of coal in India. Next we have is petroleum. Okay, the petroleum is another important source of power. So as we all know, petroleum is used in basically in the transportation purpose. So we need to conserve this petroleum because it is also a non-renewable sources. Once get exhausted, cannot be gained back. Now it is obtained from sedimentary rocks of the earth. Now the question arises, what are the sedimentary rocks? Now sedimentary rocks are the rocks which are produced when the rocks get weathered and when erosion and weathering constantly hits a rock, they get broken into smaller particles. Okay, and those particles form